So I'm pretty good to my consoles. Oh. Well, probably the most dangerous method was the best, and that is unplugging the fan and making the system pretty much overheat itself since it doesn't have a fan to cool it. So at this point, it appears to be bricked, right? Like I just bricked the system completely. Anyway, I thought we would have some fun today. I thought we'd try to give my consoles some good compound, enthusiast grade compound that is heavily risky and could damage them beyond repair, but I thought it'd be fun. We're gonna actually use ultra high performance liquid metal compound. It is from Conductive. Some of it's in German, so it's probably pretty serious. And it's thermal grizzly. This is usually something you would use on a higher grade CPU like an i7 or something you're trying to overclock, so you remove the heat spreader, which is usually seized to it with silicone or glue. You usually gotta carve that up, get that off there, and then you put this underneath of it, put the heat spreader back on, and then you technically should get better performance out of it because this is higher grade compound. But I thought today we'd put it on these game consoles. It's weird to do it because I don't know if they really need it, but I thought it'd be fun. We're doing that on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. The Nintendo Switch is probably not a good candidate for this because it does use quite a bit of aluminum around the chipset and it's mobile, so it's going to be moving, whereas this is not. People don't even want to use this in laptops half the time because they're worried that because it moves around so much that it could seep out and damage it. This is heavily conductive, so we're going to have to use nail polish. So let's get these systems apart, put the liquid metal. Wait, where'd the Xbox go? You know what? That might actually be the most impressive thing I've seen the Xbox do in a long time. Wait, why aren't you scared? Oh, right, Spider-Man. You have a reason for me to keep you alive. So I'm taking the PlayStation apart first, and I actually still have the thermocoupler that I hooked up a long time ago, if you remember that, where I was measuring Call of Duty WW2 temperatures and Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff, and I don't think it was the best way, now that I'm really looking back on it, to measure temperatures with this thing. I feel like the best way is if you have a program on the system that can actually pull the temperatures from the board, much like we have with like PCs and stuff, but I do know people still take temperatures with them, and I guess they work well enough. The fan is just so loud in these PS4 Pros that I was thinking maybe liquid metal would help, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So I'm pulling this one apart first. I did mention nail polish. I'm going to be using nail polish on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and you'll see why, but mostly because the liquid metal is so conductive, we're going to use it to try to protect the chips and the stuff around it. That's kind of the plan, is to use that to like protect the chip just in case there is any kind of spill. Because if the liquid metal gets on stuff like stuff around the chip, it would actually damage it. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is use that. Nail polish, believe it or not, is not conductive, and of course it dries and kind of puts a layer over it. So that's kind of the reason we're doing it. It's kind of hard to take off though. It's the only annoyance. That's the only thing that's kind of frustrating, is it's hard to take off. But that's the plan. We're going to use that to hopefully stop spillage and everything. I'm already down to the board. I don't even keep all the screws in this. This PS4 Pro is like a test one, and I think when I get a new one, I'm just going to give this one to Evan. So there you go, Evan. You get the one that's been beaten down real good. It still works. It does, but it's seen some days. I think what's really funny is I got this nail polish from my wife, the clear nail polish. And at this point, she's so used to this kind of stuff where I went to her and I said, I need nail polish, like clear nail polish specifically, because I wanted to be able to see what I was putting it over. So if I like put it over something and I wasn't able to see it, I didn't want to get to that point where I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, I specifically need clear nail polish. And she was like, what do you need nail polish for? Said for the Xbox. And she's like, yeah, here you go. Just put it back when you're done. Like, there was no like questioning past that. She's just so conditioned and used to me doing like weird experiments and stuff with systems and electronics that she doesn't even ask anymore. Like, sometimes she would ask me and I would try to explain it to her and she'd be like, I don't care. Here, just take it. So I need tape. What do you need tape for? I'm going to brick my Switch, but I need to cover some things up. Okay, here, fine. That's a little look into the the life in the household where the wife is not into this stuff at all. All right, so we got the board off. Got it out and everything. I'm going to clean it. And then we'll put the liquid metal on. So I'll get you guys a different camera angle for this part. And then I'll get the Xbox One X apart, which you guys have seen me do that a bunch of times at this point. And we'll also use that same camera angle for this, for that as well. So we're just going to jump over and have hopefully both the boards out for you guys to see. All right, so here's our PS4 Pro. PS4 Pro taken apart. We're going to get this as much as compound off as we can. Actually, this compound, the MX4 held up pretty well. It's not really dry at all. It's completely liquidy still. I think I think a little bit of this here on the side kind of is a little harder. Like I think it did start to solidify. And it didn't look like it was making complete contact with, there we go, with the copper heatsink. So there was some, at least a little bit of a window there for maybe where it wasn't completely touching. And we'll see if maybe the liquid metal will hold up a bit better. I do know the Thermal Grizzly stuff comes with like alcohol pads to finish cleaning this up. I guess we'll use that as well. I also have alcohol here also. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put the, let me get this off better. Just a bit of the nail polish around it. A lot of people say you can actually make a barrier if you want around it, or you can just seriously just coat all of these little fuses and everything around it. I think we'll just do that. Just because, why not, right? We'll just do that, and then I'll let it dry for a bit. I think a lot of this stuff there, like let it dry for at least an hour for this nail polish, and that's probably what we'll do. We'll just let it sit for a while and dry. So let's go ahead and start putting the nail polish kind of around here carefully. We don't want it to run too much, but we also want it to essentially goop up a bit on it. And the idea here is just to go around, and we'll just kind of cover everything with it. All right, so nail polish is all the way around it. Once again, the reason we're doing this is because it'll create a nice little layer. It's non-conductive after it dries, and that way if the liquid metal does manage to seep out, it won't short the entire system out and possibly damage it to the point where it's not repairable. So we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna clean the other side as well. Then I'll come back, we'll clean this off, and we will put the liquid metal on. Okay, it's cleaned. I actually went ahead and cleaned it with the alcohol wipes that they give you. I think they're like 70%, so it took longer to dry. I actually had to use a Q-tip to make sure it's completely dry. The nail polish looks to be dry, so everything is pretty much ready. I went ahead and opened up our Conducto Knot Thermal Grizzly liquid metal. It's apart. I have to double check it because it does have a micro tip, like top to it, like this guy. So we're gonna make this work. It does. Here's the thing, though. It does come with this. Do not use with aluminum heat sinks. This stuff actually degrades aluminum much quicker than you would think. It is not a good idea to do that. There are actual YouTube videos right now that will show you that it degrades it rather quickly. So it's mostly for copper. Now it does degrade copper as well though. So it's not like copper's immune to it. It just takes a lot longer. So that's something to think about with this process. It takes a lot longer for copper, but it would eventually happen. So I have seen some videos where people have taken their stuff back apart to double check it after, I'd say like 3 or 4 months, and it wasn't bad or anything, like it didn't eat anything away. So as long as it's copper, you should be okay. Now, I do know other people said that it comes out very quickly, so you want to do like a quick little test on one side, which I just did. And now I think we're ready. So let's drop this guy on very, very carefully, by the way. Like a very small amount. We're talking like pin size is what we're going to try to do. So let's see how this goes the first shot. And oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, perfect. Tiny little dot. What we're going to do is we're going to use this guy. It comes with it. And the idea is to kind of spread it out with this guy. So let's see how we can do here. All right, I think we're good. This is completely covered. There are no pockets and there are no kind of mountains of it anywhere. It is very thin, and actually this one of the wick that it came with picked it up pretty well. So I went around twice and got any extras up. That is very flat, so I'm hoping that when it touches, nothing is going to be spilling out, and it looks very good. So I think we're in very good shape there. I also like the PlayStation's SMDs are actually pretty far away from the die compared to other ones. I think the Xbox One X is actually going to be even easier because it has little barriers already, but we cannot, this is aluminum. I really don't want this stuff touching any of that, so we should be good. I'm going to put it on the other side, which is all copper, the other side of the heatsink. Then I'm going to drop this board down, and I think we're gonna be good to go. All right, next up, Xbox One X. I'm gonna clean this guy up a bit here, and then we're gonna drop our nail polish on it, so we'll clean that. You can see how many, man, just how many fuses and stuff are around. There's a lot around the Xbox One X die. So there is quite a bit of concern here. Fortunately, the aluminum isn't that close to it on the outside, so I think that's gonna be fine. It's more so just all of the stuff near it is so much. So we're gonna really just go around the edge here, because I don't think the liquid metal would spread too far. When I put the PS4 Pro I just finished putting together, and I double checked it after I dropped it on, and the liquid metal didn't really spread much at all outside the die. So I think we're gonna be okay, but I'm just gonna mostly get like the fuses very close to it. Okay, nail polish is done. Let's actually put the liquid metal on carefully. So I think that's actually too much. And what's nice is you can actually suck it back into the tube, kind of like that. There we go. Let's play with that amount and see how that goes there. So because you don't need a lot. They say pinhead, even that might be a little too much. So let's spread this around, and then I'm also gonna move over to the heatsink, the bottom of the very large vapor chamber heatsink that they have. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. No globs at all, really. Covers pretty much the entirety of the chip. There will be some spread. I already know this, so I didn't leave. I left a few tiny little spots. So I'm not going to go back and touch up on the outside here because I know it's going to spread slightly. So I think that's good. Now I'm going to move over to heatsink, do that, and then we'll put it back together. Okay, so we're all done with the liquid metal being applied to both. So I figure we would check it out and see how they do and make sure they still work and everything. I just turned on the Xbox One X, so we're gonna, I guess, do that one first as it's powering on right now. I do have a game in there, actually. Let me take that out because you'll hear that. And I'm trying to listen for any fan noise. Final Fantasy 15, actually. I'm trying to listen for any fan noise that could be popping up. The Xbox One X is generally pretty quiet as it is. It's not like a loud system. So the real test, I think, is going to be the PS4 Pro because this thing sounds like a jet engine sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to start up Halo 5 Guardians. Actually been playing that quite a bit recently online. But I figure I'll just start it up and we'll see what the Xbox does. It's working though, so it's not being shorted out by the liquid metal. I thought the amount that I applied was pretty good, and that the nail polish has probably helped somewhat too if there's any that leaked out. But let's jump into Halo here and see if we get any fan action. The one thing I'll give the Xbox One X credit for is I really don't get a lot of fan action with it anyway, and this was just more of a let's see what happens if we put liquid metal on it. So I'm not really expecting any massive like jet engine noise coming from it. So I quickly booted up the campaign. I'm kind of running through it. It's a little hard from this angle, I will admit, kind of looking at it from the side, but we should be able to make this work. And like I said, I'm mostly just looking for it to kind of get, I guess, stressed a bit and maybe start to kick up. But the Xbox One X is good. It's a solid system. I've told you guys this already when I took it apart. It's probably the best built system I've ever seen, like at a retail level. So it was already, with its massive, very heavy heatsink, by the way, already pretty good. The liquid metal is just that next step up, I guess, to really bring it to the finish line. So I'm not expecting anything crazy, but I'm gonna let this continue playing for a bit and we'll see what we get here. So the Xbox One X seems good. You can hear it, you can feel the air coming out. It's very quiet. It's very quiet, like usual. Very hot air coming out. A lot of times, if you feel like cold or cooler air coming out, that means you could have not all heat transferring, especially if it's getting really loud. But the air coming out's very cool. This is very like dense, very hot air coming out the back, which tells me that yeah, the heat transfer is very good. Very quiet, very just a very quiet system, which is great because it's the most powerful system. It's also like much smaller for the most part, and it's very quiet. So yeah, liquid metal in the Xbox One X, maybe not the most necessary, but I mean, it doesn't hurt. Okay, so let's get serious here now with the PS4 Pro. This is the system that I was hoping the liquid metal would have an effect on, because if you have a PS4 Pro, you probably know it gets kind of out of control, right, with its fan. If you're playing for more than a few minutes of anything like a Horizon Zero Dawn or a God of War, that fan kicks up pretty loud. Like, it turns into like a jet engine. I notice it all the time. So I was hoping, even though I think a lot of it has to do with their cooling solution, with that heatsink not being anywhere near as good as what's in the X, I was hoping that maybe the liquid metal would help a bit, maybe for the heat transfer, and maybe that'll make the fan keep up a little better. So I guess we'll see here. Oh, I need to sign into the Wi-Fi so I can digital games. I'm telling you guys. So now I've signed into the internet so I can use the games that I've purchased. We're gonna load up Horizon Zero Dawn, as that is a game that I notice more than ever, along with God of War, I guess, where the fan really kicks up. Like, it has a hard time. I am going to leave it on the resolution, the downsampling, where it can take 4K, a 4K image, and move it down to 1080 so you can get a nice cleaner image. I'm going to leave it on that setting as well, so it pushes the system, the Pro, as hard as it can. And we'll see if we can get this guy to kick up. If it gets to the point where I've seen it get to, you're going to have a hard time hearing me on this microphone, because I'm purposely behind both of these systems, so maybe you can hear kind of the fan at the time. So if it gets really loud, it's gonna be bad. All right, here we go. We're in. By the way, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition is like $12 right now. It's insane. It's completely worth the money for the Complete Edition for $12. Anyway, let's run around here. Generally, after not even a minute or two, usually it picks up pretty badly. But I'm kind of gonna run around and like get the foliage, open world, and everything. Run into some robot dinosaurs and see where we get to. So I'm gonna do that for a little bit now, and we'll see how this fan holds up. So I got one robot dinosaur. I'm just kind of running around farming them at this point in the game, just leveling up a bit. So that should give us a nice little benchmark for beating this system up. There we go. Got him. Where's the other one? Oh, there he is. Get a little bit of a fan kick up right now. There's a lot of heat coming out of the back of it though, so it's not like cooler air. But it's definitely on it definitely went up like a step. You might be able to hear it. Hold on. It's not as bad as as it would get. There's a lot of cooler air coming out the back too. When it would like jet engine, there's like cooler air coming out the back. So far though, it's not bad. Not bad so far. It actually went down. The fan actually dropped a little bit there, so I'm not used to that when playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Death's Gambit, it was fine. But Horizon Zero Dawn, once that fan starts climbing, it's over. So the fan's kind of staying at like this mid-level. Like, it's not like crazy loud. Like, if this was like underneath your TV and you were like 7 or 8 feet from it, you probably wouldn't be able to hear it. So I have to say, so far, I think the liquid metal did help for the fan noise on the PS4 Pro. Standard, but the Xbox One X it wasn't loud in the first place, so it's not like it really made a massive improvement, but maybe over time I'll see a change or something. I would recognize my Xbox One occasionally, the fan getting a little louder, but nothing crazy. The Xbox One X, it's just a well-built system. PS4 Pro has struggled with its fan. No jet engine yet. So I'm pretty optimistic about the liquid metal modification so far. Spider-Man, I think, is going to be a good benchmark, because I'm going to be sitting down and playing that for considerable amounts of time, like at once, like 4 or 5 hours at once playing Spider-Man. So that might be a better test. But Horizon Zero Dawn in like resolution mode just obliterates my PS4 Pro usually, where it becomes that jet engine. So I like it. Is it worth doing this? Maybe. It is risky. It is. People talk about it shorting stuff out. So if your PS4 Pro is really annoying you with that jet engine sound, and it's on your last nerve and it's out of warranty anyway, it might be worth it. Just recognize that there is that chance that you could damage your system beyond repair with liquid metal. It's a neat modification though. But thanks guys for watching. If you enjoyed this look at liquid metal on an Xbox One X and a PS4 Pro, make sure you guys give the video a like, if not dislike it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.